And one fish, two fish. And I'm muted on Twitch, so hold on. All right, I think that's good. And one fish, two fish. All right, I think that's good. And one fish, two fish. And a red fish, blue fish. And a red fish, blue fish. Okay, Twitch is good. Let's check the YouTube. Okay, Twitch is good. Let's check the YouTube. Okay, Twitch is good. Let's check the YouTube. Okay, YouTube is good. Yo, Rod, how are you doing? I've already forgotten how to make patterns. Hey, Charles, how you doing? I just did this the other day, but I want my cherries to be smaller, and I can't remember how I was editing this, so I'm going to try to have to redo. What is it? Do I just like select everything and go something, something, something pattern, object pattern? Right there, pattern, make pattern. The new pattern has been added to the swatches. There we go. I wasn't able to do this with the other one, but this is what I wanted to do. I just want to make my cherries a little bit smaller. We'll take a look at how this works out. Doing good. A rare Monday you didn't have appointments and get poked and prodded. I think it's just cold and wet this for us today. I think I'm going to do that. I think that might work out. We can just kind of like move things around a little. I think that's going to be a good pattern. I'm liking that. All right, we're going to try this again. I'm going to try to get this pattern into a big square, and we'll save it out at 4096. There are Tuesday and Wednesday. Dang, you're able to use that wolf with nothing else in the scene, and it worked fine. That damn wolf. If you put anything else in the scene that with it that has to be deforced. Have you tried isolating it? I mean, deforcing it just separately by itself? I'm gonna go play in Daz anyhow because I want to see how this pattern is tiling up. Also, we're gonna pop into Blender today and work on earrings. So I did a little more progress on the shape that we were doing with this in Blender, and we're gonna make earrings and a necklace out of that. So that's what's on tap today. We're playing with this texture, and we're gonna go look at a wolf. I was working on the 50s Rebel outfit. My t-shirt lost all its morphs, so I'm having to rebuild those. I think I inadvertently saved jeans over it. Damn it. Don't you just hate it when that happens? You tried everything when you tried working in the scene and doing it just by itself didn't. How weird. Yeah, because I just dropped it in and just tried to see if it worked. So I'm going to stick I don't know where my content library is, so we're going to hide that behind the chat window there for a minute. Okay, we're safe. I'm not sure if I can navigate to the wolf, though. I want to bring my dress out first, though. First, I want to get that pattern on, then we'll get that wolf, and then I can, because the dress will be deforced. So we'll set up simple scene and see if if that wolf still deforces. Hey, Emerga. We will be playing with Blender, I promise. We're doing a little bit of stuff in Daz, and then we're going to go play with Blender, making jewelry. I'm doing well, thanks. It's good to see you. And my brain stopped. I am coming over here to the spring collection. People. You know what? I think I'm just going to plop it onto a Genesis 9 figure here. Maybe not. Where is? No, there it is. Meadow Muse G9. There we go. And I'm just playing with the... Actually, I think I put the texture on the G8 version. Let's take a look. Let's hide this for a second. Or a minute or two. Did I get a little farther along with this one? Yeah. I'm just gonna swap out those roses for the cherries. The scaling on my texture looks a little off though, and I'm not sure why. Something got stretched. Hold on a second. I'm coming back. There we go. Let's do the mic. Let's do the camera. Oh, I know. I'm squeezing this texture. That's why it looks a little funny. I was trying to replicate this kind of bunching on the dress, but it's not really coming through in Daz. So here, let me see if we can find the actual dress. I am planning to make shoes to go with this outfit too, along with the earrings and the necklace. But let's see how this is rendering. Oops, I got my camera with depth of field on. See, I'm trying to get it so it looks like it's all bunchied up in here, and it's just not working out. my normal maps. I don't know, maybe I just need to use it with a displacement map or something to get it to pop a little better. You can kind of see it over here. Also, white tends to get blown out. Let's stop this. Yeah, I want to stop this render. Let's adjust the camera a little bit. My camera's got depth of field on it, so we'll tweak that just a hair. That is one narrow depth of field on there, so we're gonna just widen that. I'm gonna leave the depth of field on, but I'm just gonna widen it up a little bit. So we'll adjust the f-stop here, so we just get the dress in focus. We'll go back to that. Also, I think I'm going to add some gray into this to help it not get blown out. Or actually, let's try this. Let's go to render settings. Let's go to tone map, and let's change the burn highlights. Let's just flatten that out to 0. Did that go to 1? I keep hitting 1. That's why it went to 1. All right, let's see if how this goes. Anyhow, I'm gonna test the cherry. There you go. If I change the burn the white highlights, it's not so bad. I'm just not getting the little bunchy effect that I kind of wanted in here. I might tweak the displacement map and see if that helps. Of course, that gets really tweaky. Anyhow, let's go back to the cherries and try to get that dialed in. That's basically just what I want to do right now while we're playing with this. So I'm going to save that and then put it on this and see how that looks. Because right now they're just too clustered. But right now we spread them out a little bit. I'm just going to get a new box in here. Hit escape to get back out of the pattern maker. Let's put a box in here. There's a way to scale that. Let's try this again. There we go. So, but I don't want to use that pattern. I want to use this pattern. And I'm going to cut this and we're going to move it over to another file, new. And I'm going to make this one based on pixels 4096 by 4096. So I'm going to create that. I'm going to paste this in with its, and then, no, which one? I always get confused which one's, there we go. Take that, drag that out to this corner down here. Should be good. We're going to scale just the texture. I think, how do we do that again? Object. Is it object transform scale? Something like that is what I'm thinking. And then there's an option where we just want to transform the patterns. So I'm going to turn that off. And then we'll just change that until it gets to, I'm not liking the way that's looking. You know what? I'm probably going to rotate this and save it out. Although that might be, it's just a little too inline. So let's go back. Let's go back to here and let's try editing this pattern again. I do have it tiled in a brick fashion. Maybe we'll take the grid off. What if we do row by row? See, that's still lining up a bit too much. What is a hex column? Nope, I'm not liking hex column. Hex by row. Is that going to give me... what I want. Kind of. That still looks a little too aligned. I'm probably just going to end up with something a little too aligned looking, no matter what I do, I think. Too bad there's not a way to... let's go back to grid. I'm not liking that. I think maybe brick by row isn't too horrible. Maybe I'll try that. And then possibly... I think that might be... Let's try this. Let's escape out of that. Let's drop in a... like so. I'm going to move this over to the others. And then we can scale just the thing, right? We're just going to scale the pattern. So we are looking for transform just the pattern. You know, when I get up here, I get these white rows in here, so something's gonna... Can I edit the pattern in here? If I back off a little bit and do make my preview as large as I can get it. And then maybe get that maybe a little further down on that. Let's try that. And now my pattern's rescaled itself. God dang it. This is part of CC. Well, it's Illustrator, which, you know, I just pay for with the Creative Cloud. Because that's, I need Photoshop. I need Illustrator. I need the real Acrobat, not just the Reader. And it's nice to be able to have access to Premiere. And am I in camera? I'm not even in camera. I've moved out of camera. Okay, we're going to retile this. And I think 10 was probably too big too, but we'll try. I keep forgetting how to do this. I got to select it. Can I do this? Is there an option to transform? There is an option to transform right there. In scale. And not the object. And I think I'm going to want that to be a little tighter. That might be too small, actually. Let's find out. I'm still kind of seeing, but that's bound to happen, I suppose. And maybe if I rotate will help. And we'll make it a little bit bigger. I'm probably going to end up putting this into a whatchamacallit. Yeah, actually, let's put it in the whatchamacallit. Let's get a nice nice tile out of this. So can I undo back to here? I'm going to try to get a tile piece out of this. Control C. Let's open this up and save this out as a pattern. And then I can tile this in Substance Painter. And Chris is now launching way too many programs. This is going to hurt. Hopefully that doesn't drag stuff down. I should have opened Substance Painter after we were done with Photoshop. Oh well. C'est la vie. Close that. Control. No, I just want to get working. Close you. Chris has got too much stuff. I think I shut down Photoshop by accident. The good old whatchamacallit. Yes. Just say new file. Do I get my 4096 option? I do. Yay. Although I don't think I need that, because we're going to go Control N. Nope, I want to do Control V. It's pixels. Let's rasterize that. I can never find it. Should be right here. It should just say rasterize. Convert to smart object. Do I have to really do it this way? Rasterize. Alright, we're good. Alright, now I need to just find my repeat points. So I think maybe right there. And that's going to repeat right about there. We're going to zoom in and fix these in a minute. And then we're going to come down to right in there, which means that's going to line up with right about... Nope, that's not the right one. Did I have this rotated? You seem a little off. I'm not seeing the repeat on this. Alright, maybe I'm not going to put this as a pattern in there. Maybe we're just going to... can I just... How is it? Control... What is redo in here? Redo scale. Let's save this out and see how it works out. I am going to dump this into whatchamacallit though, I think. Alright, let's export file. Export for screens, or save for web legacy. We'll do that. I'll just save it as a JPEG. Hit save. We're going to put this into my addresses folder. This is spring 2025 whip. I'm going to put this here. I'm going to actually, we'll overwrite that cherry pattern right there. And we'll see how this looks. Where am I? I'm in render settings. Let's go over to surfaces. Let's select that. Let's come over here and let's just swap out the base color with that cherry pattern. I think the pattern's a little small now. So I think we're going to make that pattern a little bigger. And I think, we tried 10, right? Nope, wrong program. Right program. Okay, let's do the scale thing again. Right click, transform, scale. Ooh, now it's trying to 5% again. Let's say 150. Okay. File. Export for web legacy. Save. Overwrite. Yes. I'm probably going to put a light pink on this background, by the way. We'll see how that works out. All right, let's refresh. It refreshed. Yo, Loki. Thank you for that resub, man. There's a good old dyslexic heart for you. How you doing, buddy? I think that let's render this and see how it's looking. That's looking okay. I think that's tired better than that. Okay. I'm doing all right. I'm making a cherry pattern for a dress. It's getting some weird bleeding, but I know it's probably that weird bleeding thing. Do I want it to be that small? I think maybe I'm going to live with it that small. I have a copy of UV Mapper, and I haven't touched it in years. Um, I think Blender has kind of superseded that. Although UV Mapper is a handy little utility back in the day, back when UV mapping was a nightmare. A friend gave you a copy, and it's setting off your Windows Defender. It is a pretty old program. I That might be what's triggered. On the other hand, it is also nearly abandonware. Although I can't say for sure. It says it's a Trojan. Yeah. On Honestly, if you need UV mapping, I would recommend you learn Blender for it. If you can run that on your system. The Blender's got a lot of UV mapping has come a long way since UV Mapper. That's my recommendation. Does MD handle? It does, yes. And it's generally how I do my clothes. It's however you have your patterns laid out. You can layer your patterns out in a way that you can just. It has UV mapping functions. I normally lay my patterns out so they will end up being my UV mappers. Well, then you don't need Blender. And you also don't need UV Mapper then. So why were you using UV Mapper? Just out of curiosity. I think this is good. I think I'm good here. So yeah, if we take a quick look. Okay, we're going to take a quick test. I have a D-Force dress in here. I'm going to get a Genesis character underneath it. We're going to test this wolf out. You were told you need a UV mapper? Lies. I'm suspecting it's an old poser user. Or maybe when they said UV mapper, they didn't actually mean, specifically UV mapper. Maybe they meant a UV mapping utility. Yes and no. Yeah, the creator of UV mapper, Steve Cox, same name as one of my brothers. So, no, they said UV mapper and sent you a copy. All right. I honestly stopped using UV mapper when I started using Silo. And then Silo kind of lost development, although it's a really handy little modeler and was really nice for UV mapping. But honestly, Blender, if you actually need to do UV mapping and you're not just going to do it in Marvelous Designer. Yeah, I haven't touched, like I said, I haven't touched UV Mapper. I don't know, I might have touched it 3 years ago just to see if I could still open it. But that was about it. Every now and then I vaguely remember UV Mapper and fond memories. Fond memories. Nice little utility. But I don't use TrueSpace anymore. What is Octane? Octane script is the stuff for using the Octane render. And I think I saw somewhere in the DAS that occasionally that code will just creep in on your files and screw up your validator for whatever reason. There's a way to get it out. I forget what it is. I think if you poke around the PA Discord, there's a she who shall not be named. I think has a little utility that'll scrub files, a little Octane garbage that gets stuck in there sometimes. Okay, I got my dress on. We're going to go get our wolf. Sorry, I'm hiding my content library over there. Actually, before I get the wolf, here, let's simulate. Okay, so the dress simulates. So we're good there. All right, I'm going to stop you. We're going to go get our wolf and test it with something else in the scene. I'm trying to remember where it is. I can't see chat right now because I've got my content library over it. My DAS libraries. Animal. DAS Dog 8. I think this is a breed. There it is, the dire wolf. Oh, I should close that. I don't need that open. All right, I'm going to just move the wolf so that it's not sitting on top of the... All right, we're going to boldly go where somebody has gone before. Let's see how this goes. I'm just going to... We just have this bare minimum scene. 2 D-Force items, the hair and the dress. And for some reason, it hates Charles, and I'm going to see if it hates me too. Is that hair moving? I don't really see that hair simulate, to tell you the truth. Hey, you want to see something crappy? How's that for a conversation starter? I have these dire wolf poses. You sent me context in a pic in the Discord. All right, I'll look in a second. I tried this wolf sitting pose for the dire wolf. Look at that angle. Look at that angle. You gave with dogs and gave the hell up. You know, there's like I'm as a user, if I just take the base product and put it in here and take a pose that says it's for that product and I put it on, that shouldn't happen. I know, I shouldn't. And what, it's weird. I move it and these legs move. Do you see that? I can't. Well, I mean, they snapped. They're snapping around a little bit. Yo, Celis, rated with a channel 3. Hey, welcome in, buddy. Is there anything weirdly pinned in here? You know, there's something going on in here. You have walking to dogs and a leash and collar, and none of the poses work, and the collar's nothing. Sends them to the hands. Hey, everybody, check out the awesomeness of Celis. I honestly wasn't watching Twitch too much there. I probably would have popped over to the garden. Best garden in Scotland. All right, we're going to try this again and see if anything happens. Unless there's some sort of magic, I have to do something to the hair, which is always annoying. Oh, did you use the script to initialize the hair? I'm sorry. No, why would I do that? What's in the README file? You know where Daz hides README files. All right, let's try. Let's try if it. All right, it seems to simulate. If it's simulating, it seems to simulate. Let me run a render here and see how this goes. I'm playing a little bit with Daz Studio for those who just came in. We're testing out this wolf and seeing how the fur simulates. You wanted the artsy fartsy shots to be Lil's walking and playing with her doggos, but no, it was a washout. Well, that's a bummer. I have picked up some products where I've just wondered what they were thinking when they set them up. I guess they sort of work if you actually go and read and say how it's supposed to be done. But it's like, why didn't you just parent it to a hand and use a hierarchical pose? Why? Maybe that stuff is just brand new, or I don't know. All right, I think I'm rendering somewhere. This wolf renders really nicely. Not gonna lie. I'm not sure I'm happy with my cherry pattern, but I'm leaving it like that for now. I know, and I had a tester actually say, you know something, you should make this foot pose a hierarchical pose instead of a foot pose. Well, it's a little bit better, but he actually kicked it back for that. uh, Sometimes I wonder about testers. There may have been something inside the scene. That could be. Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe you got an invisible bugaboo in there. Anyhow, we're gonna. Okay, so I'm done playing with my cherry pattern. We've played around with the wolf. I can't troubleshoot it because it's working okay. That's exactly it. It didn't work the way I wanted it to work, so I'm gonna kick it. Okay, we're done with this. We're gonna end the Blender now. It is now the Blender portion of our program. I'm gonna hit save on my cherry pattern file, and I'm gonna close Illustrator down. I'm not gonna save that because I can redo that, I think. I said that last time. I don't need that. I don't need, we have Substance Painter floating around here. I thought I was going to need that, but we're not going to play with Substance Painter. We're going to make jewelry. We're going into Blender. We have, I made a little more work on the cherries. When we last saw the cherries in Blender, we had imported them as an SVG, and we had kind of simplified the mesh a little bit, and I since have added a little bit of, I added some depth to it. And now I'm going to add some hardware. We're going to make earrings and we're going to make a necklace out of this. I'm going to try to hunt down. Do I have French hooks? If I can find a directory that has French hooks in it, it might have clasps and things. So I may not need to remake a clasp for the back of the necklace. So we're going to do that. We're going to do that exciting stuff where I just kind of look for stuff on my hard drive. Over on another screen where you can't see it. Even more exciting. French hook, OBJ. I do have a French hook OBJ. It was made with Silo. That's how old it is. From 2009. There's an objects jewelry folder. Let's go take a look at that. There's my French hook. Instead of modeling another one, I might just, this is mine. I made it. I can steal it and use it for other stuff. Do I have a clasps? Let's take a look. I was making a bunch of jewelry around 2008, around 2009 or so. Um, so you're not loading up. That's fine. There's a bullet pendant. Oh, I might steal this. There's another. That's just a bullet. Amber earring. Nope. Let me see what I've got as far as backings go. I probably should just remodel this stuff though, honestly. See, there it is on a French hook. Ooh, I should steal that and use that on the cherry. Although that needs to be sealed up. I like that. That's looking fine. Let's see what else. I'm looking for necklace clasps. Let's see if we did any of those. There's a, it's on a ring. Art Nouveau barrette. Art Nouveau hair comb. Art Nouveau leaves. Ooh, chain. Does that have a clasp on it? That might have a clasp on it. I might try to steal that. That's how lazy I am. I have lightweight versions of those. This chain was designed for Victoria 3 and Victoria 4. That one's not going to open up. I'm pretty sure I have a clasp on that. I have a thing that says clasp. Look at that. Did I save you? Damn it. This is a silo file. Cord. Maybe the cord has a... Nope. Let's take a look at this one. Let's take a look at what we got here. I don't know if I can zoom in on... Can I... No, that doesn't have a thing. There's my French hook. There's some gems. Did I have any? I do have necklaces. That is just probably a chain. I'm not seeing a clasp on the back of that. There's the clasp. There is the clasp. I am not modeling another clasp today. There we go. Found it. Okay. So that one is this one right here. So we're going to get this over and do whatchamacallit. Yeah, whatchamacallit. Hey, pearls. That's not loading up. It's getting too confused. Which one? I think you were clasp, chain, V4. Okay, let's go there. Did I launch Blender already? I did launch Blender. Look at that. All right, let's get a... I don't know. It doesn't make any difference. Genesis or Victoria. Let's get a Genesis in here. Let's do that. Let's come over here to G9. Let's look for a G9 object and import that. All right, let's get in that that necklace I wanted to steal the clasp from, so I don't have to remodel the whole thing. I'm in objects. It's probably under jewelry. It might be easier if I sort by alphabetically. Jewelry. I think you're like necklace something something something. I want to say probably necklace chain. And let's see how that's scaled. I have no idea. It's small. How big are you? I have no idea why it's that size. You know what? We're just going to make it bigger. Probably close enough. All right, I'm going to edit that. And we're just going to steal this claspy part off the back. These two rings, and we're just going to lose all the links. I have chain in default. Let's see what's what in here. Yay! there we go. That simplifies things. So we're going to put a curve around here. I could actually, maybe we'll do a little bit of Marvelous Designer. And what we'll do in Marvelous Designer is we'll just take a strip of cloth and run it around the neck and let it droop. There's a cloth sim in here, but I don't know how to use it. So quick detour over to Marvelous Designer. So I think I wanted. Oh yeah, and I should grab my French hook while I'm at it. So let's come over here. Let's get that French hook in here. You're my import. Actually, it was the amber earring that had a nice French hook on it. You got a left one and we got a right one. I'm just going to grab this one here. And we'll just get rid of everything. I don't know, did I have materials? Select wire. Ooh, that's pretty good. There's a bead on there. Our French hook's going to have a bead. That end is open. We're going to close that up. Alright, we'll get rid of the rest of that. And I'm going to recenter this. Wait a minute. Something else got selected in there. Alright, let's try this. Did I get everything? I think so. Then I can delete that. Then we're going to look at this from the top. I'm going to center this up. So we're going to just rotate it. I'm a little off, but I'm going to move. Where's my... There's my origin. We're going to mirror this. That's the reason why I'm centering it up first. Zoom in. And I'm going to put this right there. Pretty much right there. It's not quite centered, but I'm going to put you right about there. Then we're going to rotate this just a hair to get it straight on line. Probably good. I'm just going to check the back. Note the back's a little bit off because I'm not rotating on... Here, we'll rotate on the 3D cursor. Did that work? Pretty much. That's probably going to be good enough. Actually, let's put it down. I'm going to put the... Probably doesn't make any difference. Also, my French hook's probably small. And you know what? I was probably modeling the poser scale, which means it's about 40%. Poser scale is like 41%, I want to say. So, I don't know, what's the opposite of that? Oh, I haven't, and chat's probably going off and I haven't even noticed. Nope, nothing happening in chat. Fine. I'm going to put you there for a second. I'm going to move you away. 100 divided by 41. That's what I need. Is 2.43. Okay. So scale 2.43. Did that work? I did not think that worked. Scale 2.43. I'm not seeing anything happening. I'm in edit mode. I have everything selected. It's like it's so small. Scale 2.5. Probably good enough. I can kind of see it now. Where do I want to put the origin? I think I'm going to origin it right there. That'll be its rotation point. So I'll put the rotation point right about there. And then we'll just accept all the transforms on that. And I'm going to set the did I have that selected? Looks like I have it selected. Am I moving it? I am moving it. Okay. All right. Apply my transforms. Set origin to 3D cursor. So the center point is right there. So if we rotate, all right, should be good. I probably should UV map this. What are we doing? We're making a necklace over here. Basically, I'm going to make a strip of cloth and droop it around the neck. Export it back out and then make a curve out of that. Close it. That's true. I still got to close it. Because that little end is open, I believe. Yep, see, I got no polys back there. I'm now clipping. Let's fix that so I can see what we're doing. Clip start 0.001. There. Let's do that. There we go. It is now closed. I'm going to put a little bevel on there. I'm just going to do that. You know what? I'm just going to be neurotic and add some UV mapping in here. Nope, wrong tool. Right through there, and around here, and around here. We're going to mark those as seams. Let me see, I think I'll mark a seam right there. Oops. You know what? We're going to mark a seam right there. And I'm also going to put one right in here. And then we've got the ball. And you know what? I'm going to mark a seam on the back of that. And then I'll add a couple more. Here, let's do this. So I can just kind of focus in on this. And then I'm going to just spread this out. Am I in X-ray? I was in X-ray. All right, that's good. So I can put a seam right there. Put a little seam right there. This will come open up like a globe. And we'll add a seam there and there. Should be good. Let's get everything back. Let's pop over to UV editing. AU unwrap. Dude, that kind of works. That's a little... What is... It's like my seams didn't get... Oh, no. What are you? Oh, you're this thing. Oh, so you've got sealed tops. That's what you've got. This thing right here. So... Oh, look at those end guns. Don't look. Actually, you know what? I can scale that in a little bit, so we'll delete that. Actually, we'll just do this. And then I'm going to delete that face off. And I do want to mark that right there. And I'm too close. It's because I switched scenes. Now I have to reset my clipping again. There we go. Okay, I want to do the same thing to the bottom, but I've got this in the way. So we're just going to hide that. And I'm just going to do that and delete. And then I'm just going to add a seam. Nope, I'm in face mode. I want to be in edge mode, so I can just mark the seam right there. And then we should be able to get everything back, select it all, UV, map it. See, that's better. That's kind of what we're expecting. I'm not sure what you are. I don't care. You're probably the cap end. All right. And this will get remapped later when we add it into the rest of the cherry. I should probably UV map the cherries, but that's right. I have Marvelous Designer open for a reason. Because we're going to just make a necklace by drooping this over there. And I know you can do cloth sims in Blender, but I don't know how to do them. It's just faster for me to do it in Marvelous Designer. Someday I might learn cloth sims. In which case I would just take an object and sim it around the neck, which is basically what we're going to do right here. And I think I'm going to do this twice so I can kind of make a morph target. But we'll see. So I can easily then do this on the Genesis 9, Genesis 8. Anyhow, there's Genesis 9. They, them. So I'm just going to take a little strip, maybe like that. Put this off to one side. I think it's too small. I'll make it a little bit larger. Control D. All right, let's sew all of this up. Too tight. Still too tight. Getting there. Oh man. I hate it when it does that. Ugh. Phone's making noise. Why you make noise, phone? Alright, nothing important. I think I'll try to make this a little thinner. It might work a little better. Also, I might up the... oh, I didn't want to do that, because that... I'm just going to manually do that. And of course, it broke it. Can I make this fabric heavier? Where did you go? No. No, there's no reason for you to be in there. That is not a restored shape. What the hell? I think maybe... I don't know, that's about right, I think. I think I'm going to just merge the front back together. I don't really need to. Let's say merge. wage. It's probably fine. We're probably just going to steal this bottom edge and make a curve out of that. See the way to see if I can improve that. Did that just twist? Let's try that again. Let's see if I can do this without it twisting around itself. That's a little better. I think I'm going to use that, so we're going to export that out and put it in the Blender. Make a curve out of that we can then run links along. And then do I also just want to do this for Genesis 8? I think so. Let's export you. File, export, OBJ selected. Come up to here. I'm in dresses today. And we're going to put that over here. Necklace, curve. Did I totally misspelled necklace? Probably. Curve. G9. Okay, and then, you know what, I'm going to put this on a scaled G8. So let's get our G8 shape in here and use you as a morph target and say okay to that. And let me see if I need to tweak that at all. Probably. I might leave it like that. Maybe I'll pull it out a little so it doesn't hang quite as low. So we have like a 3mm offset from the skin, which I might tighten up in Blender. We'll see. You're probably okay. All right, let's export that out. Yeah, now you're in the avatar folder because of course it's the last thing. You loaded in a morph target. So of course that's where I want to export stuff, not the folder I was just exporting in. Why would I want to do that? It's inconceivable. There we go. At least Windows remembers recent folders, even if Marvelous Designer doesn't. Well, it remembers one. Where was the last thing you got anything from? Daz, I like Daz. If you do an import in Daz, it remembers where you imported from last. If you do an export, it remembers where you exported from last. Not the same place as where you imported. So that's kind of handy. I give Daz credit. I find that useful. Export. Let's say okay. This is scaled by a factor of 106 or so. Anyhow, back over to here. I'm going to come back to that. Let's set up our... We're just going to run a chain around here. Yeah, but that's based on each part of not on a whole. Well, you mean it remembering where you were importing last, exporting last? I.e. pose preset is different than an HMAT location. I think some. Well, if you're doing a pose preset or an HMAT, generally you're in the content folder, and it remembers right where it will deport there. If I'm importing an OBJ, it remembers the last place I imported an OBJ. If I'm importing a morph as a morph target, that's kind of handy. If I'm exporting, it remembers where I was last. There's one other thing. and I forgot what it was. So importing and exporting, saving, it basically saves wherever you're saving at in the content folder. So, I mean, if I did a save, if I was doing a save here, I mean, it saves into this folder. If I'm doing a one of these, a prop support asset, it remembers the last place I saved a prop support asset to. So if I do that, you know, I was saving last in this directory here, and this is nowhere near where I currently am in DAS. All right, brain stopped. I'm making jewelry. We're importing. And Blender is handy because it has it remembers its recent folders, and it keeps a list of them right there off to the side where it's handy to grab them. So in this case, you know, I haven't been to that to the dress folder today, so of course it doesn't know I was there recently, or it might be this whip folder, but it wasn't. I was working on a swimsuit last night. There it is. So it did remember. It's in the recents. Although what I would like to do is get rid of this stupid system window. There's probably a way to hide this. I mean, I can make it, I can collapse it, but it keeps coming back every time I restart. Because honestly, I don't use this. So having it show up on my dialog box doesn't really do me any good. There's our curve. Let's import that. Let's come over here. Let's tab in. And what I'm going to do is we're just going to get rid of the other half of the other part of this. And we'll just do a... actually, these are all vertices. So we'll just do this and we'll delete verts. And then I can just make a curve out of this, I think. Convert to curve. There we go. It's now a curve. I can now run objects along that. And where did my thing go? What happened to this chain? I can't find this chain anymore. I lost this chain. I must have accidentally deleted it or something. Oh, bother. Go get it back. I think it was what, amber necklace? Was that what it was? No, it was just necklace. Something necklace chain to v4 import. And it's down there because it's scaled. So we'll just scale 2.43, and then I'll get rid of it later. Okay, let's hide you for a second. Let's make some links that are going to go around this. I think I want them to be a little larger than this. I think I'm going to steal one of these though, just for sizing. It's just convenient that way. Let's separate that selection. Let me tab out. Can I just select? There we go. Let me put the origin to the geometry. And then I'm just going to kind of, nope, I did not dimensions, location. And I'm just going to clean up the rotation on this. I'm going to make this a little bit larger, I think. That's not too bad. Let's look at you from the front. You could probably be rotated. Am I going? I'm going too far. Going the wrong way. Right about there. I think I'm just going to make this a bit larger. I might make 2 of these, but is there a way to rotate stuff? I might do this twice. We'll see. I have to remember how to run things along a curve, or I might just do this. And let it deform. And it's so small you won't really notice it. So that'll be, I might make it bigger still. We'll see how this looks. Let me see if I can remember how to array to a curve. I just did this the other day, didn't I? And I've already forgotten. How sad. I think it was put an array modifier on it. Add a modifier. We're going to generate an array. So we're going to adjust that so this comes over here. So this would be like 0.9, maybe 0.85. And we're going to do a fit curve. And we're going to fit that to that necklace curve. So that's about the length of the necklace up there. And I think I need to put a curve modifier on here to stick this onto the curve. Something like that. I'm going to kind of hope that it starts at the back. I'm not sure. I might need to tweak some stuff a little bit. Close you up. Let's add a, I think that's a deform curve. And we're going to say, put it up there. That looped around a few times. And it's also not sitting on the curve, so I think I maybe have to Control A, all transforms. Oh, there we go. That was it. I forgot to apply the transforms. So I think at some point I'm going to convert this to a mesh, and then we can line up our clasp in the back. So take that, select it, kill it, reset the origin to the geometry. I'm going to end up lining that up right about in here. You know what? I'm going to switch over to, and we're going to hide the X-ray for now. And I'm just going to kind of end up with this sitting somewhere about in there. Did I not set the origin to this? I know, let's apply all the transforms. Now I set the origin to the geometry. Is that sitting right here? Oh no, I'm over here. This needs to say median point. There we go. And then we're going to delete out some of these links in here. How's our G9 looking? That looks nice. I think I'm going to... It's floating a little bit, which is probably fine. Do I want to just... So do I want to leave those links that size, or maybe make them a little larger? I'm thinking maybe I want those a little larger. In which case we're going to have to readjust to that probably. Anyhow, I'm going to tab in, and I think we'll just scale that up. Let's do this in a Method 1.5. Take a look at how that, maybe a little larger still. Maybe I'll go with that. So I still I need to probably adjust the class now that I've made changes to that. I can't, dang it. I can't see what I'm doing. Maybe put you here, maybe make the clasp a little bit larger. Probably gonna adjust. Yeah, I think I'm gonna put that in there. Okay, now I want to hang little cherries off of this. So I need to put maybe a little hooky thing or a little link thing on the cherries. So we're going to make a copy of the cherries. We're going to drill a hole. Do I want to put a hole on here? Or do I want to just add? I think I need to add something in here, because that's going to be a little small. And also, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to join that together. I'm going to make a copy. I should have added the thing first. That's okay. Let's do the earrings. And then I'm probably just going to put like 3 or 4 on one side and 3 or 4 on the other. And I know I want this to be, for an earring, about 2 inches. So we'll start with that off the French hook. Let's do that. Set this to the origin to the geometry. Put you to the center. Tab in. Am I tabbed in? Tab in, select all, scale. Can I see my sizing over here? Is it in view? Nope. Is it tool? Is it item? I'm in edit mode. I can't see it while I'm in edit mode. That's right. So what we're looking at is for this to be 0.05 at some point. I mean, I guess we could just do this and watch it go down to... And actually, I want it to be a bit smaller than 0.05, so maybe 3, 6. It's probably the size I want. I'm going to put a little loop in here so we can attach this to the French hook. And that still might be too big, but we'll see how this works out. I'm going to apply my transforms. I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to pop into edit mode. I think I'm going to add a little bit of detailing in here. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put, I need a little more right there, because I want to take this in just a little bit. So I want that edge. And I want you to kind of divot in, because I'm going to put a little loop in there. And then we're going to pull these out. And let's see how the magic loopy tool, yes, the magic loopy tool. I'm going to grab these and I'm going to try to circle them up using loop tools. And then I'm going to do the same on the other. So it kind of did what I wanted. Actually, I don't want to move that one. Never mind. Well, actually, it kind of did. Let me try that again. Yeah, I'm going to do that to the other side as well, and then I'm going to position them a little bit. Then we're going to put a hole in there. So hopefully these line up. Yay, they lined up. I'm going to orient them just a little bit. Get rid of that overlap right there. That's for dang sure. So, pull you out. How's that look? I think that's going to do the trick. I'm going to get rid of that line and that line. Can I just dissolve those out? And does that still leave faces there? It does. Huzzah. And then we'll just grow to do this. Bridge. Why are you not red? Oh, there we go. You are red. Never mind. All right, let's put that on that French hook and see how that works. I'm going to leave this one here. We're going to make a copy for the earrings. So let's, like that. Let's put you, so you're going to hang off of, and it's a little awkward. You know what? I'm going to put my center point right here. So we're going to change our origin to the 3D cursor on this. Let's make sure I'm lined up front and back. I'm off a little bit front and back. So we're going to just do that. All right, change our origin to the 3D cursor so the center of this is right there. And I think it's unweighted, so our center line probably should drop through here. So it's probably going to hang like that. And I'm going to, oops. And I'm going to just attach that to the French hook. I should UV map this. I think I'm just going to do simple split mapping. We're just going to run seams along the edge of this and let them come apart in the two halves for this. We are a little off there. Put that right about there. I might make this a little bit smaller depending on how it looks when we get it up to the ear, and it'll look a little bit smaller on the G9. I think that's going to be good. I probably should apply at least a level of subdivision on that before we go too far. But Chris, do your UV mapping. I forgot all about my UV mapping. You're going to go get up and fix some dinner. All right, catch you later, Charles. Bon appetit, dude. So basically, I'm just going to grab these back edges, mark my seams there. Let's mark our seams there. I'm going to hide these so I can do the stems by themselves. Okay, that is open. Yay. a seam there, mark a seam there. I think those will be good. Let's see how this goes. I am doing the background. Oh yeah, and I gotta do, you know what, these don't need these back faces here, so we're gonna just delete those off. And then I don't need the mark seams on those then. All right, Alt H. Let's pop over to UV editing, select all, unwrap. I can't see what I'm doing. Select all, unwrap, conformal. So do I have any weird, what are you? You look like you're part of this. You are part of that. It just gets funky in there because of the way. It could probably stand a few more seams. I'm going to turn off the subdivision for a second here. So you know what? I think I'll probably put a little seam right there. I still. You know what? I think I'm going to separate that out. And then I'll just mark a little seam on the inside there. I'll probably do that so that smooths out. I'm not trying to get perfect UV mapping. I just wanted to get a little more even. I mean, I could always smart map this, I suppose. Maybe put a seam right there. See, that's kind of a hot mess. So maybe I will separate these out. Maybe split through here. Or I could just smart UV map that, not worry about it. Because I'm not, maybe we'll just do that. Control L. Are you not doing anything? There you go. And we'll just say smart UV unwrap. I'm not really worried about having to. Why are you? Oh my gosh, my my mouse went funky. Yeah, it's probably okay. I'm going to move this to the side for a second. Select everything. Let's scale that to the other stuff. We use the good old Packmaster for that. Is that in here? Adjust TD to unselected. There we go. And then I did not select everything. Let's try that again. And then we'll just pack it like that. Probably fine. And here I'm gonna, before I go away, I'm gonna come over here and say seams from islands. There we go. Back over to here. And I think I'm ready to, let's duplicate that. Let's apply a level of subdivision. I think I've just got one on here right now, right? Yep, we'll do that. Apply that. I'm going to make a copy of this. and then join that with this. I should name that something besides curve. It would probably be a good idea. Control J, and you're going to be cherry earring. All right, let's put that on an ear. I think that's going to be a good size. It might be a little larger than you want in real life, but in Daz world, sometimes if you just do, sometimes you just don't notice stuff like this. So you're going to hang kind of like that. And you're going to kind of come somewhere around in here. It's probably going to work out. So you know what? I think I'm going to pack up this with that. And then we're going to put them half and half. Then we're going to use a mirror modifier to drag this to the other side. Yeah, so back to UV editing. Hey, I still have the other thing selected. Yes. So what if I do adjust to TD, select all. Let's set up a, well here, let's just go ahead and pack that, right? So it puts all of that stuff. And what I want to do is I want to put this in one half, and then we're going to use a mirror and flip the UVs for the other when we make that. Which is advanced packing options, non-square packing, no, custom target box, there we go, and edit to target box, and press D to start drawing, and then right mouse button, and I can't see what I'm doing, so we're going to redo that. I'm going to put this over here. We're going to zoom in. So 1, 2, 3. I think this is the center line. So I want to put that right there. Bring this down to about here. Use our pack master to stick all of that in there. And then when we make the, I'm checking my center line. No, we're over. Then when we mirror this, we'll mirror the UVs to the other side for the other side. I think I'm in a good position there. We can do this. We'll add a modifier. We'll put a mirror modifier on there. Generate mirror. Okay, we need to accept our transforms. Looking good. We're going to come over here. Right here, data. We'll mirror those U's on the UVs. I think that's going to be good. We'll have to tweak these a little bit for the position of the Genesis 8, so we can do that. I can probably do that right now. Let's get a G8F in here. G8F. There it is. Oh, phone's making noise. Stop making noise, phone. It's more annoying stuff I don't have to worry about. All right, let's make a copy of that. Tab in, select all. And that's going to end up lining up somewhere on that ear. We have a G9 in the way. Let's move that. So I'm going to put that right about here. This is my little blue box. There's my little blue box. That's what I'm looking for. I think somewhere in there. So we're going to end up attaching these as rigid follow nodes. And that's because it's the mirror modifier. Should be over there. Okay, it looks good. I think I've got the earrings. Am I actually working in a file that says Jewelry Cherry Meadow Muse Blend? Okay, I'll hit save on that. And let's work on this. I think I'm going to, so we had the necklace in here. I think I'm going to apply, make it mesh. We'll clean up the back with the clasp. We, of course, will make a copy because I think I'm going to pull that just up here. I think we're going to be fine. I'm thinking. Thinking hurts my head. Yeah, let's do the G9 with the for the necklace. Where did you go? You went there. Something. Where are you? Genesis A female. Okay. This is probably fine. You know, we'll probably start with one of these, and I'm probably just going to line these up. I think I need a little ring in there so that I can attach those to this. So probably steel. No, I'm just going to add a ring. Oh, I have a duplicate over here, but I don't have the little loop in here. Actually, do I have my duplicate with my loop over here? Yeah, there's the duplicate with the loop. So let's add a ring and then center that up right there. Here's my ring right there. I'm going to steal this. I have a little bit of mesh right here. I can just, and then I'm going to just resize that, or I can make a torus. I think I can, that's probably good enough. I should probably rotate all of this. We'll get there. Control I. Look at it from the top. Oops. Once again, I'm just gonna maybe rotate that around like so, and we're just gonna put that maybe right about there, and then I'm gonna make a little loop ring out of that, and that's gonna line up right about there. We'll bring you down. I actually think I'm going to make that a little larger. And I think we're going to make the inner diameter a little like so. I know that French loop is in the way. It's probably going to... Do I want to shade you back a little like this? I think I might do that. Okay, so do I have a material in here for this? I should probably clean up the materials. Um, let's see what we got in here. There's probably, you know what? I'm going to make that wire. Nope. I'm going to add that wire. And assign that. Did I change all of you? God damn it. I accidentally applied something to this. Let's reassign that back to, not leaf. I lost my stem. That's what happened. I accidentally changed stem to wire. All right, there we go. Disaster averted. I think you have like wire and bead. You got a bunch of other stuff in here I don't need, but I think that's going to be fine. All right, I think you are good to go. I still have the necklace in here. There it is. I can see it now. Oops. Oops. Excellent. Grab the French hook. I think you are curve. There we go. I went too high. So I'm just going to loop you into one of these. Okay, we'll put you like that. My center point's off a little bit on this. Can I control C? Does that copy my location? Nope, but it did make a copy. You know, one thing I miss about Silo is I could easily place where I wanted my center of rotation for something. In here, it's always a little trickier. I forget how to do it. I think I can just put the 3D cursor like maybe right here and set that to be my orientation. So I have to do this, and I'm going to switch over to this for, I don't want to see that. I want to see this. I want to put this right there. And then I want to set my center point to that. Set origin to 3D cursor should be good. And then I can move this on a local. And then what is it? Is it R, X? There we go. And then as I move this along, it kind of stays oriented like that. All right, let's see how this is looking versus a Genesis 9. Also, we're going to make, do I want to maybe just do 3? We'll do a small one, a bigger one, and a small one. And then we'll do the same thing, small, bigger, small. And we'll just kind of flip them around back and forth. And when I scale this, I want to scale, I don't want to scale this, but I want to scale the rest of this. And we might change the size of that, although it'll generally fit around that. I'm running out of time. Let's get Genesis 9 in here, and let's set that so it sits a little better. So that's going to end up kind of like that. I think I've got plenty of room on this dress. Let's go back and take a look. Oh yeah, I got lots of room on that dress. So I'm not inadvertently going to be clipping the dress. Yay. You know what? Let's try this. Shift D. Tab. Select all. Scale. -1. I wish it hadn't done that. Oh, I'm doing local. Let's do global. Global. Scale. -1. You're still... Oh, I know. Scale X -1. There we go. That's what I wanted. And what if I scale by 0.6? And now I gotta put this back on there. We'll switch to local. And we'll just reattach that to there. And then I'm going to, you know what, tab out. Dang it, I moved my 3D cursor. I hate it when I use the 3D cursor, doesn't undo. I hate the 3D. Shift D. I'm going to make this one a little smaller, but larger than that one. What did I say, 0.6, so maybe 0.75. And then we're going to make an even smaller one. So let's tab in here. Let's actually, what I want to do is I want to select that. Control L, Control I. We're going to do a scale 0.8 maybe. I am still oriented locally, so that's good. And I'm just going to run this back up like that. Probably good. And then I'm going to make a copy of this. I'm going to pop into here. And scale 0.85. And then line that back up on the on its link. I hope it goes something like that. Tab out. Okay, G, these are going to go out here. That's the big one. That is going to come into here. That is going to be somewhere over about there. You're going to come around in there. Get you into here. And you're going to be way out over here somewhere. All right, let's line these up. I should probably hide these, but so are you? I am in local. Where is the is it T? There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Although now you're a little off a little bit. The origin moved when I changed stuff on the inside. That's annoying. I'm going to reset this with the 3D cursor to be right about there. So if I plop that there, then we set the origin to the 3D cursor, and I go back to this. And now I just kind of need to get this on a ring. I'm going to try to get it over here, I think. And am I clipping? No, do I want that over a little bit though? Actually, I probably want to put it on this one here. So it's a little closer in. Rotate you a little bit. I should duplicate this one because it's got that recentered. Chris totally can't see what he's doing. Yeah, I am gonna dupe these. We're gonna get rid of these because I gotta reset the center on all of this stuff. And you get to be moved out over here somewhere. And we're gonna zoom in and we're gonna reset that. Put that 3D cursor right there and reset our origin point. Set origin to 3D cursor should be good. But this is the one I want to do next. Did I get the right spot? Pretty close. All right, that's better. Select you, set the origin, and I should be good. I don't like these handles as much as just the regular translate. All right, that one's going to get on that ring right there, I think. Seems to be where we're heading. Pretty close. Probably okay. I got 2 minutes left. I make nice progress. I just have to kind of do this for the other side then. So actually, let's try this. I think, which ring am I shooting for? Maybe this ring right here. So line that up there. Kind of get you in place. Look at you from the side. And now I can't. You know what? I can do this. Did I get it? Did I get it? I did not get it. I think I'm close. I think I got the wrong. There we go. I might be able to just mirror those over. They should be pretty close. We'll see how that. I might do that just to get me a little step up. No, I don't want to mirror those over. I'm going to have to just copy them over. Anyhow, I think I'm going to stop here for the day. It's 4 o'clock. Thank you all for being here. Let's switch this over to... So they're kind of looking like that. Well, I do want to make a copy of this. Shift D. Hide those. I'm going to convert this to a mesh and get rid of those the rings in the back. He said, staring blankly at his screen. There we go. Convert to mesh. Tab in. Oops, I think I hid that. There we go. I want to keep that. And what we want is we want to get rid of like that, and maybe that. And it's going to end up looking kind of like this. And this is coming along. I'm going to just make copies of these and set them up on the other side. That's going to be my cherry earrings. And then I have to set this up for Genesis 8. And then we have to make shoes to go with the dress. I have some... So they're a little clunky looking, but they're kind of... looks like a modern fashion. What does Chris know about shoes? Nothing. Anyhow. I might... You know, we'll rotate you probably just a little bit. Anyhow, yeah, thank you all for being here. Let's find somebody right and call it a day. I will be back tomorrow, 7. I didn't see anybody pop in and say anything over on the YouTube. Not even sure if I'm there. Acellus, thank you for that raid, man. I appreciate it. Everybody check out Acellus Australius. My favorite garden to hang out with on Twitch. Also, check out our mod, CS Bond. Hasn't been streaming much, but he still has a Discord. So you can go hang out there with him. Cool cat. Makes mighty fine Daz art. Am I good? I think I'm good. I think this is what we're going to leave off for today. Alright, let's find somebody to raid and call it a day. Yeah, Rod, thanks for being here, man. After getting pocked. Oh, it's another poking and prodding day. Yay! Okay, where's the YouTube? If there's anybody actually on YouTube, bye. If I can find my YouTube. There it is. Alright, I'm going to sign off the YouTube, then we're going to find somebody to raid on Twitch and call it a day.